Warning, the show you're about to watch or listen to may contain foul language and sentences that may make no sense because this show was made and is hosted by an American. Viewer discretion is advised, bruv.
In supreme fashion by what they would call the world champions. We'd fall to City 1-0. No midfield, no creativity, no goals, and no FA Cup this year. Welcome back into another edition of An American Talking Tottenham. It's a rough one. We were hoping that maybe, just maybe, we lost out in the Carabao Cup due to, the whole feeling out process of Ange Ball in the first, part of the season early all the way back in August. And now, we thought probably, and unfortunately, we fall to City. So, that pretty much leaves us with one championship left on our table at our grasp, and that is the league title. So, all of our efforts are going to go to the league. But I can't help but talk about, and I shouldn't be the only one on this wagon right now to talk about, just how bad we were utterly, just dominated. I don't want to be the guy that went out there and said that we didn't have it, that we weren't doing enough, but there was no true killer instinct, but there was no confidence to gain that killer instinct. There was no overall shocking ability besides defending that what made us feel confident enough to just, keep going, but the defense of City shut us down. Go over some stats very quickly. 18 shots, 5 on target. That's just from City. We had one. Possession, 57% to 43%. One of the few times we were actually lost in possession ratios. Not happy about that. 602 passes to 466, an 87 to an 82% completion ratio. Again, lost it there. And hell, they even beat us in fouls. But the point of the matter is this felt like it was one of those games where it was we're playing to not lose. We're not trying to have that aggression, that killer instinct. I was talking amongst my friends and even considering myself playing the manager role if I could, trying to predict the perfect lineup for City, trying to gain something that would shut them down offensively, but still allow us to turn around and get something happening offensively. And however, that immediately came to a close when we saw Ange Postecoglou put Pierre-Emile Horbier in the starting lineup over the returning James Maddison. Now, whether that was by design, whether Maddison's meant to just get, a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there until he's really back into it, but we've had guys that come back from injury faster than Rodrigo, not Bentancur after his knee injury, and it was a knee or calf injury, but after one of his injuries, and we thought he was going to be out for 6 weeks, he was back in 3. It was one of these things where it felt like our main creative piece, if you will, our midfield magician, if I could use crazy pundit out words, was sitting on the bench for 70 plus minutes. And he came in the last 20 when everybody was already cold. When Richarlison was just being shut down. When Timo Werner could do nothing but attempt to try to outpace Phillips. And he kind of couldn't. He kind of couldn't. Brendan Johnson looks superb today. I will admit that. He looks superb. His crosses are getting better and better and better by the week. I constantly chalk up finishing ability to the fact that Richarlison's in the middle. But the fact is he almost had a shot today. So it was one of those things. But again, going back to the midfield, and that's where I don't want to say the problems are or the issue is, because it's not necessarily that. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is not a bad player. He's just not Ange Ball. And I think that that's something that we've kind of come to the terms. There's players in our system that are the Ange Ball way, and there's some that aren't. And I know we don't want to get rid of him just yet, with a couple of days until about less than a week until the end of the transfer window, and we really hope to get somebody to replace him. Hopefully somebody like a Conor Gallagher, preferably. But that may not happen, and if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. But I still feel that he does not need to be on this team. That Skip is almost as good. He's just not as knowledgeable, but he's just as slow, or I guess as fast, if you will. It's just one of those things where that style of midfielder is on the back burner for us. We need attacking, creative, mindful players, guys that can carry the ball, guys that can make passes and be attacking. That's a James Maddison, that's a Lo Celso, that's a Bentancur, that's a Kulusevski. And I'm loving Kulusevski in the middle, and because I love it because I feel like he's a guy that can always go 90 minutes, no problem. He just has that kind of stamina. And anytime we need to make a change, we can always pull off somebody from the top, from the forward scene, and we can push him back up and replace somebody in the midfield. And I felt like that if we had somebody on the bench, and that's the problem, we don't have anybody on the bench. You know, we're obviously missing Basuma, we're obviously missing Sarr, that are both off of the AFCON. You know, we're obviously hugely, at least in my opinion, missing Sonny desperately. The aggression, the pace, the killer instinct, and Heung-min Son and what he brings to Spurs is on another level, and then we're dying for him. We're dying for Sonny to come back, but he's in the Asia Cup, and it looks like South Korea is not getting out no time soon. So it's one of those things where, I mean, Timo Werner can kind of match on the well of pace, but he is in no way on the level of a Heung-min Son. And unfortunately for us, it just means that we're going to have to hinder this for a little bit. Now, whether that means there's still options out there for us in the midfield, which I'm more than sure there are. There's not many. I've been looking. My eyes have been solely stuck on Nunes, who is going to be a winger for us. They're calling him the Norwegian Neymar. And the reality is it looks like he's going to probably, if we end up signing him, he'll stay where he's at and come to us next season, which will only do him wonders. You know, it worked out for Destiny Udogie. It worked out for Sarr as well. So, and Basuma, I believe. Even Lo Celso, if I'm not mistaken. So it's something that I think could totally be in the works of another caliber player. I just can't think of whom at the current moment. Now, as far as our defense, and that's where, if there's any positive to talk about in this game, it was exactly that. It was the defense. And it was the fact that, in my opinion, and I'm sure in a lot of Spurs opinions, Spurs supporters, as my American self always wants to go to the rounds of the route of the fans, we have just probably the two best fullbacks in the world. Now, I'm probably far-fetched with the world comment, but we definitely have the two best fullbacks in the Premier League, or at least in my opinion, because Destiny Udogie is a man among men. I don't understand this. For a guy who's 20 years old, he outstatures many of his opposition. It is absolutely insane. And Cristiano Romero is just choice for us. One of those words that Americans use. He's a proper fullback. There you go. That's the term I should be using right there. He's a proper fullback, and I love every second that he's on the field. Mickey van der Ven absolutely showed that his injury is not going to bother him. He's going to come back and do exactly what he was doing and be a catalyst center back for our defense, and just be the absolute bee's knees. The absolute bee's knees. I freaking love Mickey van der Ven. He is, as we say in the States, an all-star, an all-pro, whatever you want to consider him. He's top of the list. He's top of the list, fam. And, of course, we can't leave out Pedro Porro, who I swear at some times I feel like he can even play in the attacking midfield as a defensive midfielder because of how well he can advance the ball. His ability to pass, his ability to shoot, his ability to carry it is tremendous. Now, granted, that is part of his game as a fullback, but, I mean, heaven forbid we ever need to make the moves as such. I truly think that we could probably move Pedro Porro into the middle and maybe work him in as like as a replacement for Horbier. I'm over here fantasy booking, so I just wanted to give my quick rant about this team. This was a heartbreaking loss. You know, we're hoping for gold. We're hoping for cups this year. We want trophies. We want to add to the trophy list. It's been a long time since we were actually able to do anything as far as the championship realm was going on. But we have the team. We have the coach. We're missing some pieces that are out doing their thing in their own competitions, and we're missing a couple of pieces that we have yet to bring in. But I assure you, if not this year, next year, Tottenham is for real. And if we win the league next year, it should not come as a surprise. So take this for what it was. It was one of those games where we went up against Goliath and we were David, and the story ended as it should. We got tromped, and it's okay. We're hurting. We have a lot of injuries. We gave it what we could, but there's still changes to be made. I really, truly feel that Postecoglou has to fix one big flaw of his game, and that's when he makes changes. The fact that he notices, the fact that we are noticing that there are problems happening right there towards the end of the first half, within the first 10 minutes of the second half. We should not be waiting until the 70th minute if we're going to consider bringing on James Maddison. He's going to need to get warm. Bring him in the 50th minute. Give him that extra 20 minutes. Maybe this could have ended a 1-1 and we would have went to the Emirates and attempted to turn this around again. Not the Emirates, I apologize. To go where City is. And try to go win over there and, hope for the best. But the reality is he feels that he's right when he's right, and he's going to stick to his guns, and I'm all for it. But we really, truly need to make changes when we are seeing the problem happen. So, for the next time we play, which is back in the Premier League, I fully expect to either be without Horbier on the roster, but at minimum without him in the starting 11. Our midfield for the remainder of the season, at least until Lo Celso gets healthy, should be Maddison, Kulusevski, Bentancur. That's exactly how it should be. So, short, sweet. We'll get back at them. We have some good games coming up. I want to say Everett is our next one going into the Premier League. It's back to the Premier League schedule. So let's get ready for that one. We got 3 games in a week. 3 games in a week. I hope we're ready for it. If not, we do got some guys on the bench, especially Dragusin, who are waiting, chomping at the bit to get out there. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with the American as I was talking some Tottenham. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you're subscribing right here to KTN Sports. Make sure you're checking out Max Wrestling as well, which is the place where you're catching footy talk and then jumping over to KTN Sports. So we appreciate y'all. Come on back when you get a chance. Tell your friends the American is done talking for the day, but we'll be back